Remember when a new Black Ops game felt like the biggest event of the year? Black Ops 1, 2, even 3. Those weren't just games, they were cultural moments. The trailer would break YouTube, everyone at school was talking about them, and you could feel the hype months before launch. But somewhere along the way, that magic faded. And if we're being honest, Activision deserves most of the blame. Back in the early 2010s, Treyarch were at their peak. Every reveal trailer was memorable. You could almost feel the testosterone coursing through your body with those explosions and badass music in the background. The dialogue hit you with goosebumps.
Just because they write it down and call it history doesn't make it the truth.
And it left you wanting more, because just like that, you were already invested into the game and its story. World at War set the tone with its gritty campaign and of course the introduction of zombies. Something that would change Call of Duty forever. Black Ops 1 came in 2010, which was a cultural phenomenon. The campaign nailed that Cold War espionage vibe, with plot twists that still hold up today. Multiplayer was stacked with legendary maps like Nuketown and Firing Range, and zombies became a full-on obsession with those iconic maps like Kino and 5. I still remember when I was a young whippersnapper, going to my friend's place for a sleepover, playing Kino for the first time. The lights were off and I was shitting my pants, but man, it was fun. Black Ops 2 followed in 2012 and absolutely blew up. The futuristic setting was risky at the time, but it paid off. Multiplayer gave us the Pick 10 system, and Treyarch dropped iconic zombies maps like Origins, Mob of the Dead. This was Treyarch firing on all cylinders, and the fans loved it. Even Black Ops 3, though controversial for its jetpacks and wall running, it had depth, and it's my favourite Call of Duty of all time. The campaign might have been...
Train go boom.
Yeah, let's not go there. But multiplayer was addictive. Those beautiful coloured multiplayer maps, as well as the new Dark Matter Mastery camo, and Zombies was in its prime with Shadows of Evil, The Giant, and later DLC maps like Der Eisendrache. During this era, Treyarch wasn't just a developer, they were the Call of Duty studio that people trusted. It's actually not surprising that Black Ops 7 doesn't have that same pull as those first few Black Ops titles. Over the recent years, we've seen some pretty significant changes to Call of Duty, which at first sounds like a good thing, right? But these changes were not in the COD community's best interests. Let's start with Black Ops 4. This is where we saw the big shift in focus with what Treyarch were doing. Because Black Ops 4 released with no campaign, and instead they put that effort into making Blackout, which was the first ever Battle Royale experience for Call of Duty. Sadly, Blackout didn't live up to its potential for many reasons. I made a whole video about it, because it really could have been so great. But now, Call of Duty fans were left feeling cheated out of a big part of what made Black Ops so unique. And Blackout wasn't necessarily bad. In fact, a lot of people actually enjoyed it, including myself. But it felt rushed, and it lacked long-term support. And despite Treyarch claiming that they would provide ongoing support for the mode over the next few years, that was all talk and no show, because they stopped supporting Blackout at the end of June in 2019. Why? Because they had to step in and help develop 2020's Call of Duty, which ended up being Black Ops Cold War. Now, originally this was meant to be Sledgehammer's turn for a Call of Duty title. However, it is said that Raven and Sledgehammer had some creative differences, resulting in major development struggles. Basically, the kids were fighting, so the parents, Activision, had to step in, call in the big brother Treyarch to lead development with Raven assisting. Treyarch basically got stitched up here because if they had it their way, they would have committed to their ongoing support for Blackout, but instead, their reputation took a hit because Activision made them solve someone else's problem. Now, for the game modes in Black Ops 4, multiplayer was pretty good, but it kinda just felt like a budget version of Black Ops 3's multiplayer, still leaning heavily on specialists, but not really expanding beyond this, so it didn't really feel as memorable as Black Ops 3. However, in Zombies, a lot changed. New perk system, new story, new loadout system, new point system. So while they innovated a lot, it was met with a lot of criticism. Not just because of that though. When Zombies launched, it launched with 4 maps, which is quite a lot. So while they pushed out so much content, the game wasn't really in a finished state. There was a lot of bugs at launch, Easter eggs weren't working, and the Easter eggs themselves were actually really hard. So while the hardcore Zombies players were enjoying it, most of the player base, the casual players, they were having a hard time. But the real killer, monetization.
Money!
The loot boxes, overpriced cosmetics, nickel and diming players at every turn. It left a sour taste that tanked Treyarch's reputation. Personally, I don't mind the supply drop systems that we had in those older CODs. In fact, it gave me more reason to keep grinding on Black Ops 3. But with Black Ops 4, it was much harder to grind for, and microtransactions were much more incentivized. And not just that, but paid DLCs was still in Black Ops 4, which again, I personally don't mind, but it's combined with the fact that Blackout wasn't even free. Treyarch were double dipping here. And the thing is, most of this wasn't Treyarch's fault. Activision forced them into cutting the campaign, rushing development, and cramming in aggressive monetization. But to the average player, it just looked like Treyarch had lost their touch. While Treyarch were moving on to their next title, which was Cold War, Infinity Ward were cooking up something that would change COD forever. Modern Warfare 2019. This is the game where skill-based matchmaking turned multiplayer into roulette with your sanity. One match, you're wiping the floor with players who had just discovered how to sprint. The next, you're up against a full FaZe Clan warm-up lobby. There's no natural progression anymore. No sense of getting better. Just whiplash between stomping and getting stomped on. And to make it worse, disbanding lobbies killed the social side of COD. Back in the day, you'd run into the same players game after game. Sometimes making new friends, sometimes sworn enemies.
I'm trying to keep you alive, alright? So if you kill me, that's a problem. Are you serious? Black Ops is on my team, I'm backing out. I'm not doing Love Struck copy. Oh, he's on my team. Oh, lovely.
Now, every lobby resets. No rivalries, no banter, no fun. Now, shortly after Modern Warfare 2019 came out, Warzone was released. Now, what an incredible experience from Call of Duty. Warzone is the definition of right place, right time. In the midst of COVID and the lockdowns, Warzone was popping off and it was pretty addicting. But with this also came the heavy monetization methods. Yes, maps were free, but now there was an even bigger push for microtransactions. The in-game store pushed $20 skins and everything was on offer. Cosmetic bundles, blueprints, and operators. Modern Warfare did get regular multiplayer updates, new maps, modes, but Activision put more of the spotlight on Warzone because Warzone was the free-to-play game, and that's where Activision saw the most player engagement. And many felt the base game became an add-on to Warzone, which it kinda was. One of the most compelling reasons to actually purchase Modern Warfare 2019 was just to help rank up faster for Warzone, but it meant that the new COD titles to come felt like they weren't the priority for Call of Duty anymore. Following Modern Warfare 2019, and with bugger all time off, Treyarch were back with another Call of Duty in 2020. Black Ops Cold War. Now first off, before we go too hard on this game, we need to give Treyarch their flowers for cleaning up the mess they got given with only a year and a half, rather than the normal 2 or 3 years they'd normally get to make a COD, as well as making it happen during lockdown. And to no one's surprise, again, the game felt rushed. It launched with only 8 multiplayer maps and 1 zombies map, which was very low for a new COD title. Cold War ran on Treyarch's older engine instead of Infinity Ward's new one. You'd think using the older engine might have meant less skill-based matchmaking, but nah, we can all dream.
Dude, I'm mine,
Yeah, I'm getting a Warzone.
Treyarch's own COD title was now infected with a toxic matchmaking system that plagued Modern Warfare 2019. The campaign was actually pretty enjoyable for most people, but it did feel too short at around 5 to 6 hours. Black Ops Cold War also felt like it was designed around feeding content into Warzone rather than standing on its own. And in multiplayer, the prestige system changed, but not really in a good way. Now your level would reset at the end of each season, so it was always a rush to prestige before the new season would start, so your progress wasn't for nothing. It even felt like Warzone was leaking through into the zombies experience. An example of this can be seen with the armor system in zombies. Instead of continuing the shield system from previous iterations of zombies, now it was armor, just like Warzone. Weapon upgrade tiers, score streaks, a Warzone themed minimap and compass. It felt like this mode was catered to Warzone players more than the original Zombies community. For the most part though, the campaign and zombie modes for Cold War were mostly well received. Sledgehammer was up next with COD Vanguard.
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
And what do you know, Activision called in Treyarch again to help develop zombies. But just like last time, Treyarch would unfairly take a hit to their reputation due to the poorly received zombies mode. We don't know exactly when Treyarch stepped in to help with zombies for Vanguard, but it's likely that it was again more of a last minute decision from Activision after Sledgehammer were having difficulties with it. Now this wasn't the last time that Activision had to call in Treyarch to help make another Call of Duty Studios zombies mode, because it happened again in Modern Warfare 3. So with this reoccurring pattern of Treyarch having to step in and fix another studio's zombies mode, you can start to see how their reputation would naturally just tank. A zombies mode from Treyarch used to mean something. Hell, a Call of Duty title from Treyarch used to mean something. It meant bold campaigns, creative zombies maps, and competitive, addicting multiplayer modes. But now, every Call of Duty feels the same. The menus, the UI, it all blends together under the COD HQ umbrella. Black Ops used to stand out. Now it just feels like another piece of Activision's annual content machine. And that's not Treyarch's fault, it's Activision forcing conformity to make the game as easily accessible as possible to the everyday Warzone player. So now we're going to talk about why, in my opinion, Black Ops 6 was a bit of a flop. And the issues I'm going to present are actually things that I think are because of Activision and not necessarily Treyarch. Because although Treyarch are the ones implementing these changes, I don't think they wanted to. I think at the end of the day, they're being told to by Activision. So I'm just going to start with the general fundamentals of how the game works, and then we're going to dive into the separate game modes. First off, the engine. With these studios now having to work together more under Activision's instructions, it starts to make sense how Black Ops titles and Treyarch were losing their unique touch. Before the launch of Black Ops 6, we were hopeful. We've fooled ourselves many times being stuck in the classic COD cycle, thinking that the next COD will be worth it. A lot of us were hoping that Black Ops 6 would be on Treyarch's own engine and not the new Infinite Warfare engine. Surely, no more tech sprint. We wanted that classic Black Ops movement that, in my opinion, peaked in Black Ops 3. But sadly, we came to find out that Black Ops 6 was going to run on the now called Unified engine. But come on, do you really think Treyarch wanted to do this? I really doubt it. To me, this sounds like classic Activision stepping in and telling Treyarch how to do their job. And yeah, I don't know for a fact that Treyarch didn't want to use the new engine, but to me it's pretty obvious. When Gamefile did an interview with directors at Treyarch prior to the launch of BO6, the directors were asked how long they had to work on the game, to which they answered,
4 years!
While it was the longest time they've had to work on a new COD, they pointed out that a lot of the time spent on the game was spent actually transitioning off the Treyarch engine onto the new unified COD engine. To quote the developers, which has definitely had its benefits. Now when I hear someone say that, to me it is the most polite way of saying, it's not what we wanted to do, but it'll work. Like, why would they voluntarily just do away with their own engine that they know like the back of their hand and they've built up over years and years, to suddenly just switch to a completely new foreign engine that, as they've said, has taken them a lot of time to figure out and work with? Once again, in my opinion, this is 100% because of Activision. And let's not forget that Treyarch was solely responsible for zombies in Modern Warfare 3. So it's not really a full 4 years. It's like 4 years with a lot of multitasking and separate projects to also work on. Unfortunately, the old way of giving each studio their creative freedom to have their own unique engines and responsibility to make their own COD titles is a thing of the past. Now everything is merged together and it all just feels the same. And to top it off, now it's got to the point where games like Modern Warfare 3, that was actually meant to be a DLC for Modern Warfare 2 initially, but because they put it as a new game, they can charge full price. This seems to be the way that Activision's heading now, because a similar thing's happening now with Black Ops 6 and Black Ops 7. In fact, we've now come to learn that Black Ops 7 was actually being made at the same time as Black Ops 6. So no matter how you put it, at the end of the day, both of these games are on the same engine. And it's not even a maybe anymore. We've seen gameplay from COD Next and playing the beta. We've seen how the mechanics work and it's exactly like it was in Black Ops 6. How is this a new game? This should be a DLC for Black Ops 6 if anything. Not just that, but if Treyarch are splitting their work between two different games, when you think about it, each game's only going to be getting half the love it's meant to. I mentioned the COD headquarters earlier. Black Ops 6 is only playable through being part of the COD app, which, if you've checked the file size, it's just bloated beyond repair. Now I know that on PlayStation the game size has gone down a lot, but the point still stands. It's been like this for too long. Yeah, good that they're changing it now, but why did it take the competition like Battlefield for them to finally change the size? Like, how on earth is this game 135 gigs and all I have installed is multiplayer and zombies? If I downloaded the campaign in Warzone, that'd bump up the size to 300 gigs. What? And how are we in 2025 and I can't even launch a game without having to relaunch it because there's an update? Like, can we not just put that update in the actual update that I have to do on my Xbox? Now I know I've already mentioned the store and microtransactions and such, but in Black Ops 6 it's on a different level. It's gotten to a point where Treyarch don't really know who they are anymore, and we don't know who they are anymore. Advertising overpriced bundles with skins that are completely unrelated to what Black Ops is supposed to be. I can't express to you how off-brand and out of place it looks seeing these cartoony skins in a match. Not only does this take away from the identity of the Black Ops brand, but it just cheapens the experience. If that wasn't bad enough, if you want to complete the free version of the Battle Pass, you only make enough COD points to break even for the next Battle Pass. So no matter how many Battle Passes you complete, you will never be able to save up any COD points for anything else in the shop. That's not even the worst of it. One of the biggest issues I have with this game is it being online only. Even the campaign can't be played offline. Why not? This means that if your internet goes out or the servers go down, which actually happened recently, you can't play the game at all. Why are we going backwards with our technology? Speaking of the campaign though, while I did enjoy the campaign for Black Ops 6, it didn't really feel like it took any risks. No big plot twists, emotional investment or payoffs. It just felt like Treyarch didn't want to take any risks and play it safe instead. So while it's a decent campaign, it's not memorable like Black Ops 1 or 2 was. And why do you think that is? Well, it's because Raven were actually leading development of the campaign, not Treyarch. If Treyarch had their own time to make their own game, they could actually deliver. Alright, moving on to zombies now. Now if you know me, you know that zombies is my favourite game mode in Call of Duty, so I've got a lot to talk about. But I've already made a video in the past about what I think are the issues in Black Ops 6 zombies, so I'm going to generalise and just go over the main points. One thing that struggled a lot in Black Ops 6 zombies was the story. It was a bit of a mess. Some of the story from Black Ops 4 made it into Black Ops 6 for no other reason than just nostalgia bait. And there were so many missed opportunities for some actual dialogue from the characters. Ending cutscenes with little to no dialogue. I mean, the Tomb's ending cutscene is the most ironic cutscene in zombies history. You've got no dialogue from any of the zombies crew, most likely because of the voice actors' ongoing issues with protecting their work from being replicated with AI, heavily pushed from Activision. And as a result, Sam, the AI robot in the story, is doing all the talking. I mean, the jokes write themselves here. And you'd like to think Richtofen would say something when at the end he finally wins and his family comes back to life. Nope. Wow, such a moving story. But honestly, it really sucks because Treyarch are known for their great storytelling in zombies, especially within the Ether story. It all started going downhill since Cold War zombies. Now it's just characters with uninteresting or little to no backgrounds. Like this guy's literally just an NPC at this point. And you're just being talked to over a walkie the whole time. One of the biggest issues though in zombies has to be the pause timer. Now, remember how I was saying that Black Ops 6 can only be played online? Well, this is one of the bigger issues that extend from that. Because it's always online, you're always on the COD servers, right? That means Activision don't want you on their servers for too long if you're not even playing the game. So they've put in a pause timer of 15 minutes, which is nothing. Like if you're trying to look up how to do an Easter egg,
hi guys, Mr. Waffles here.
Good luck, because your game's going to end so many times by the time you've figured out what you're actually doing. Whereas if you could play this game mode offline, there wouldn't be any need for a pause timer. But even still, if you're going to make the game online only and put a pause timer in, 15 minutes is nothing. Like make it at least 45 minutes or an hour. When it comes to the maps in Black Ops 6 Zombies, they're actually pretty good, but it doesn't really matter because a map is only as good as how it plays. Take Terminus for example. Honestly, this map is one of the best maps we've seen from Treyarch in ages. But in terms of the mechanics in zombies, there's nothing actually specific or unique that can only be done in this map. As a result, every map feels the same. Yeah, they look different, but there's no unique gameplay elements or mechanics specific to any given map. Okay, there's the low gravity area in Reckoning. That's a good start, but that's all we're gonna get. We need more. Zetsubo no Shima in Black Ops 3, only in that map you could plant and grow different plants with different purposes. It made the map unique and more memorable. Or Shadows of Evil, you had to wall run to make it to the Pack-a-Punch, and if you fell, you died. We also had a different HUD and Pack-a-Punch. Why can't we have this now? Obviously there's so many other issues with Black Ops 6 Zombies, like the point system, the armor system, the score streaks, the salvage system, weapon rarities, the list goes on. But the last one I want to bring up is the lack of rewards for completing Easter eggs. While I think it's a good idea having directed mode in the game for people that aren't really experienced with zombies, When it comes to Easter egg rewards, it's kind of messed up because if you complete an Easter egg before directed mode comes out, you get these exclusive, quote unquote exclusive rewards, but it turns out if you complete the Easter egg on directed mode after that's come out, you get the exact same rewards. Maybe just for calling cards a different color. There should be much better rewards for completing the Easter egg before directed mode comes out, which would actually incentivize beginners, people that are new to zombies, to actually get good and understand how to do Easter eggs. Thinking back to those earlier editions of zombies, Kino de Toten, Ascension, Origins, Mob of the Dead, these maps weren't just maps, they were experiences. There was mystery, replayability, and a community that lived and breathed Easter eggs. Now, zombies feels like an afterthought. Black Ops Cold War stripped it down, and since then, it still doesn't feel like Black Ops Zombies has come close to achieving what it did back in those older Call of Duty Black Ops titles. And when it comes to Black Ops 7, it's going to run the same as BO6, like I've already said, so Zombies isn't really going to change that much. But it isn't all doom and gloom, because in Black Ops 7 we are going to get Cursed Mode, which is basically as close as Treyarch are going to get us to classic Zombies, where there's no loadout weapons, rather you start off with a pistol, no armor, a perk limit of 4, and the classic point system from BO3. So we're kind of getting what we want, but at the same time, we have to play standard mode first to unlock this mode. Kind of defeats the purpose almost. Finally, moving on to multiplayer. Let's get the obvious issues out of the way. Of course, skill-based matchmaking felt worse than ever on this game, and we know for a fact that the reason skill-based matchmaking is in Black Ops 6 and Black Ops 7 is not because of Treyarch, it's Activision. The general criticism of the multiplayer maps in Black Ops 6 is that they're too cramped and it promotes chaotic combat. They've basically tried to make these maps the equivalent of doom scrolling. You literally just spawn into combat a lot of the time. And yeah, it's great for camo grinding, but just depressing at the same time. Speaking of the camo grind, this shit is actually just depressing. I decided not to commit to the dark matter grind in multiplayer because it just sucks the soul out of you. It's not fun and it feels like the biggest chore. I did do the Nebula camo grind in Zombies, which while it took a while, it was bearable and not stressful so much because I was just watching Breaking Bad in the background.
You're goddamn right.
But the camo grind in multiplayer has turned into something that is no longer fun. It's way too grindy, and to me it's not even impressive anymore. In Black Ops 3 it was impressive, but now if I see it in a multiplayer match for Black Ops 6, I just feel bad for the player who put themselves through all that shit. One thing that's really killed multiplayer in my opinion is Black Ops 6 just feels so antisocial. And again, it's not like this is just for Black Ops 6. We were dealing with the disbanding lobbies since Modern Warfare 2019, but in those older Black Ops games, not only would the lobbies continue game after game, but there was the freedom to express yourself. I'm not talking about hugging the trees and all that bullshit. I'm talking about having custom emblems and paint jobs. Now, I understand that custom emblems were problematic in BO2 especially, and in BO3 as well. Heck, I've got it marked in my calendar for the day I'm finally unbanned from making emblems in Black Ops 3. But that's what reporting is for. We should be able to make our own emblems and show them off. What do we reckon, lads? Should I make a video on the 18th of January 2038 when I'm finally unbanned? I want to see if it'll actually let me make an emblem. You better like the video and subscribe because you want to be notified in bloody 12 years when I'm making this video. And same as for paint jobs, I thought this was an awesome addition to Black Ops 3. Now there's nothing. Like, where's the personality here? All of this together adds up to where we are now. A Treyarch that doesn't feel like Treyarch anymore. I truly believe that Treyarch don't have the creative freedom that they once did. Activision now have so many regulations in place for these studios to follow, because all that matters now apparently is just money. It's not even about people enjoying the game anymore. I think it really all went downhill from Black Ops 4. That's when Activision really put the pressure on Treyarch, to the point where every new game just feels rushed. And it's just about pumping out as much content as possible with the least amount of work, with little to no regard for the Treyarch identity. It's frustrating because the talent is clearly still there. Treyarch's developers are some of the most creative in the business. But when you're shackled by corporate deadlines, forced trends, and a focus on microtransactions over innovation, it's impossible to live up to the legacy of the Black Ops name. Black Ops 7 has been revealed, and from what we know so far, it's not looking all that promising. Same engine as Black Ops 6, more nostalgia bait with the campaign and zombie story. The people have spoken, but the devs aren't really listening. Or rather, Activision's not listening. These games aren't new anymore. They're just reskins of the same product. At the end of the day, Treyarch gave us some of the best memories in gaming. midnight launches, late night zombies runs with the boys, iconic campaigns that still hold up today. Those moments defined an era, but Activision's decisions over the past decade chipped away at that magic. What was once the most beloved COD studio now feels like another cog in the corporate machine. And maybe that's why we still go back to those old games all these years later. But you know what? Who knows? Maybe one day Treyarch will get the freedom to innovate again.